I'm calling this full Board of Alderman meeting to order this day, June 17th. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Tyus.
Present.
Alderwoman Middlebrook.
Present.
Alderman Bosley. Alderwoman Evans. Alderman Page.
Present.
Alderwoman Ingracia. Alderman Coder. Alderwoman Rice.
Present.
Alderman Gunther.
Here.
Alderman Balmer.
Present.
Alderwoman Martin. Alderman Stevens.
Present.
Alderwoman Schweitzer.
Present.
Alderwoman Howard.
Present.
Alderwoman Green.
Present.
Alderman Odenberg.
Present.
Alderwoman Peel. Alderman Todd.
Present.
Alderwoman Davis.
Present.
Alderwoman Spencer.
Present.
Alderman Muhammad. Alderman Boyd.
Present.
Alderman Vaccaro.
Present.
Alderman Narayan.
Here.
Alderman Cone. Alderwoman Clark Hubbard. Alderwoman Boyd.
Present.
Alderwoman Navarro.
Present.
President Reed.
Here.
Alderman Bosley. Alderwoman Evans. Alderwoman Ingracia. Alderman Coder. Alderwoman Martin. Alderwoman Peel. Alderman Muhammad. Alderman Cone. Alderwoman Clark Hubbard. 20 present, you have quorum.
Quorum being present, we will be led in prayer today by our very own John Watson Jr. of Maple Temple, which is located in the beautiful 18th Ward. Pastor Watson, we're in your hands.
God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. I'd like to take a moment of silence for
Pastor Watson, you're muted. You're currently muted. All right.
one of our great firefighters.
If you want to start over, Pastor Watson, we missed most of that start.
I'd like to take a moment of silence for one of our firefighters of the city of St. Louis. Firefighter Rodney Hurd, he passed his duty. We wanted to pray for the family and you all to reach out a hand of help in this time. But he's one of our great firefighters of the city of St. Louis. God bless you. John 8:36 says, if the Son therefore set you free, you will be free indeed. Gracious God, Heavenly Father, we offer praise and thanksgiving for your hearing of the cries of the oppressed and giving our nation the victory and freedom over slavery. We in gratitude unite all our hearts to reflect on where you have brought us from. As we enter this Juneteenth holiday celebration, let us remember all our ancestors who long to see this day come. Let us sing songs of joy and celebration. God, we thank you for this freedoms we experience. Let us not take for granted at what cost we experienced it. May we fill the land with songs of joy and thanksgiving and celebration in remembering your saving grace. On today, give this board and our mayor of this great city the strength, motivation, fortitude, and courage to collaborate on social justice issues, equality, and the dismantling of all systems of oppression and violence. so that our city will be a place where the freedom of life that you gave each of us can be fully realized and expressed throughout our community. Into your arms, we commit ourselves, our families, our city. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor Watson. And our thoughts and prayers go out to the family of the officer and also for anyone who came in contact with them. They are our frontline workers and they're out there putting their lives on the line each and every day. And I know I'm appreciative, and other members of this board and people across the community are. And I know he was a friend of yours, so our thoughts and prayers are with you also on this day. Thank you. With that, we will dispense with line item 3. Enter any introduction of honored guests. Introduction of honored guests. Alderman from the 23rd.
As always, I'd like to have my good friend Greg Meyer as my honored guest.
Greg, welcome. Any further introductions? Any further inductions? Alderman from the 19th.
Thank you, Mr. President and members of the board. My guest of recognition today is for a resident in our downtown West community. I wish speedy recovery for our constituent that has been a victim of crime. She was sitting in her loft in her home, and the random shooting actually hit her inside her home. So I wanted to recognize her, want her to know that we care, and we wish her and her family a speedy recovery, not only with her wound, but with the reality of today. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much for that, Alderwoman. Please send our thoughts and prayers to her and her family. Alderwoman from the 4th.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and
Morning.
all the members of the board. I'd like to, my guest of recognition is Julia Allen, who's a constituent of my ward, very dedicated person throughout the Ville. And I just want to give her recognition today.
All right, let's give recognition and a round of applause to Ms. Allen. Thank you. Any further introductions? Any further introductions? Alderman from 10th, you recognized to wrap us up.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. We're gathered here on June 17th, 2021. On this day in 1885, the Statue of Liberty arrived in New York Harbor. And in 1964, the Supremes had their first #1 hit, Where Did Our Love Go? But more importantly, it's Eat Your Vegetables Day. So I suggest we all go to the Alderman from the 23rd's backyard after the meeting and raid his garden.
Alderman from 23rd, you're in trouble. All right, thank you for that. Approval of the minutes.
Approval of the minutes dated June the 11th, 2021.
Alderman from 10th, you recognize on approval of the minutes.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. I move for approval of the minutes from June 11th, 2021.
Moved by the Alderman from the 10th.
Second.
Seconded by the Alderman from 22nd. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Report of city officials.
Report of city officials can be found in A, B, and C of the agenda and has been placed in the Alderman's mailboxes.
We'll dispense with line item 7. Would anyone like to take any bills or resolutions off of any of our former calendars? I know the Alderman from 23rd and the Alderman from 26th. Alderman from 26, you recognize.
I would like to take board bills 3 and 4 off of the informal calendar, please.
Would you like them to be placed on the third reading consent calendar?
Yes, I'm sorry.
All right, and Madam Clerk, please make note of that. Place board bills 3 and 4 on third reading consent calendar. And at the request of the Alderman from the 23rd, place board bill 27 on the third reading consent calendar.
So noted.
Would anyone else like to take any board bills or any resolutions off of any of our informal calendars? All right, we will dispense with the balance of items 9 through 10, first reading of board bills.
Board Bill 59, sponsored by Alderwoman Boyd, an ordinance directing the Director of Streets to make changes in the present traffic pattern controlling traffic on Thrush Avenue in the 5400 and 5500 blocks of Thrush Avenue between Thekla Avenue and West Florissant Avenue. Board Bill 60, sponsored by Alderwoman Evans, an ordinance approving a redevelopment plan dated May 25th, 2021 for the 3813 through 3853 Garfield Avenue area. That is the extent of first reading of board bills.
Reference to committee.
To the Street Committee, Board Bill 59. To Neighborhood Development, Board Bill 60. That is the extent of reference to committee.
Second reading.
The following board bills were reported out of Streets Committee with the due pass recommendation. Board Bill 10, sponsored by Alderwoman Martin, an ordinance authorizing and directing the Director of Streets to permanently close, barricade, or otherwise impede the flow of traffic on the block of Virginia Avenue by blocking said traffic flow at the intersection of the block of Virginia Avenue and Belle Reve Boulevard. Board Bill 33, sponsored by Alderman Oldenburg, an ordinance established 5700 block of Walsh Street Residential Parking District and location and restriction for curb parking within the 5700 block of Walsh Street Residential Parking District and authorizing the placement of permit parking only signs and prohibiting the parking of any vehicle which does not display the required permit and providing a penalty for violations and containing an emergency clause. Board Bill 35 as amended, sponsored by Alderwoman Clark Hubbard, an ordinance establishing a two two-way stop sites at the intersection of Clarendon Avenue and Vernon Avenue, regulating all traffic traveling northbound and southbound on Clarendon Avenue and containing an emergency clause. Board Bill 36, sponsored by Alderwoman Middlebrook, an ordinance recommended by the Board of Public Service to conditionally vacate above surface and subsurface rights for vehicle, equestrian, and pedestrian travel in City Block 3444 as bounded by East Holly, Boer, East Athlone, Prescott, in the City of St. Louis, Missouri, as hereinafter described in accordance with the Charter Authority and in conformity with Section 1.4 of Article 21 of the Charter and imposing certain conditions on such vacation. Board Bill 58, Committee sub-sponsored by Alderwoman Tyus, an ordinance recommended by the Parking Commission making appropriation for payment of the operating expenses, capital expenses, including lease purchase agreement and debt service expenses of the Parking Division of the Treasurer's Office for fiscal year July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2022 in the sum of $17,773,082, including $1,367,290 for capital improvements containing an emergency clause. The following board bills were reported out of Ways and Means with a due pass recommendation. Board Bill 53, sponsored by President Reed and Alderwoman Davis, an ordinance pertaining to the transit sales tax imposed pursuant to Section 94.660 Revised Statutes of Missouri as adopted by voters of the City of St. Louis on August 2nd, 1994, pursuant to Ordinance 63168, creating the City Public Transit Sales Tax Trust Fund, directing the Treasurer of the City of St. Louis to deposit funds received pursuant to said sales tax in the City Public Transit Sales Tax Trust Fund, Account 1, appropriating $10,523,000 containing a severability clause and emergency clause. Board Bill 54, sponsored by President Reed and Alderwoman Davis, an ordinance appropriating the sum of $20,110,000 as described in Section 94.600 through 94.655 Revised Statutes of Missouri 2000 as amended for the period herein stated, which sum is hereby appropriated out of the Transportation Trust Fund to the Bi-State Development Agency for transportation purposes containing the severability and an emergency clause. Board Bill 55, sponsored by President Reed and Alderwoman Davis, an ordinance pertaining to the transit sales tax imposed pursuant to Section 94.660 Revised Statutes of Missouri as adopted by the voters of the City of St. Louis on November 4th, 1997, pursuant to ordinance 64111, creating the City Public Transit Sales Tax Trust Fund, directing the treasurer of the city of St. Louis to deposit funds received pursuant to said sales tax into the City Public Transit Sales Tax Trust Fund, account 2, appropriating $10,523,000 from the said sales tax for the period herein stated to the Bi-State Development Agency for certain purposes contained a severability and an emergency clause. That is the extent of second reading report of standing committees.
Alderwoman from the first. You're muted. Alderwoman from the first.
Sorry. Mr. President, members of the board, I want to suspend the rules to bring Board Bill 58 committee substitute down to the perfection calendar, which if this board allows that, I intend to perfect it and then put it on the informal calendar. We passed it out of the committee, but Alderman Boyd had some significant questions. And I did write a letter to them, an email to them rather, not a letter, asking for our answers. And Alderman Boyd has expressed to me he was comfortable with what I asked. And so I want to move it along because we have a budget, but I don't intend to pass it without our answers. But I do want to get it to a point where we can pass it by next Friday if we can get our answers.
Okay, would you like to make the motion?
I move that we suspend the rules to move down Board Bill 58 committee substitute.
Second.
Perfection to the regular perfection
Calendar, I'm sorry.
All right, moved by the Alderwoman from the first, seconded by the Alderman from the 22nd, I think. And another one, but the Alderman from the 22nd. Any discussion? It's been moved and seconded that we suspend our rules for the purposes of moving Board Bill 58 committee substitute to the regular perfection calendar. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Tyus.
Aye.
Alderwoman Middlebrook.
Aye.
Alderman Bosley. Alderwoman Evans. I'm sorry, Alderwoman Evans, I didn't hear you. Thank you. Alderman Page.
Aye.
Alderwoman Ingracia.
Aye.
Alderman Coder.
Aye.
Alderwoman Rice.
Aye.
Alderman Gunther.
Aye.
Alderman Balmer.
Aye.
Alderwoman Martin.
Aye.
Alderman Stevens.
Aye.
Alderwoman Schweitzer.
Aye.
Alderwoman Howard.
Aye.
Alderwoman Green.
Aye.
Alderman Oldenburg.
Aye.
I'm sorry, Alderman Oldenburg, I didn't hear you.
Aye.
Thank you. Alderwoman Peel. Alderman Todd.
Aye.
Alderwoman Davis.
Aye.
Alderwoman Spencer.
Aye.
Alderman Muhammad. Alderman Boyd.
Aye.
Alderman Vaccaro.
Aye.
Alderman Narayan.
Aye.
Alderman Cone. Alderwoman
Aye.
Clark. Thank you. Alderwoman Clark Hubbard. Alderwoman Clark Hubbard.
Aye.
Alderwoman Boyd.
Aye.
Alderwoman Navarro.
Aye.
President Reed.
Aye.
Alderman Bosley. Alderwoman Peel. Alderman Muhammad.
Aye.
27 aye votes.
By vote, stay in the motion of the Alderwoman from the first and suspend the rules for purposes of moving Board Bill 58 committee substitute to the regular perfection calendar. Madam Clerk, please place Board Bill 58 committee substitute at the end of the regular perfection calendar.
So noted.
dispense with line item 14, perfection consent.
Board Bill 7, sponsored by Alderwoman Davis. An ordinance approving a redevelopment plan dated January the 26th, 2021 for the 1558 South Vandervande Avenue area. Board Bill 8, sponsored by Alderman Vaccaro, an ordinance approving a blighting study and a redevelopment plan for the 3810 Watson Road redevelopment area. Board Bill 24, sponsored by Alderman Todd, an ordinance recommended by the Planning Commission on May 5th, 2021 to change the zoning of property as indicated on district map from G, local commercial and office district, to H, area commercial district in city block 4575 so as to include the described parcels of land in city block 4575 and contain an emergency clause. Board Bill 25, sponsored by Alderwoman Clark Hubbard, an ordinance approving a blighting study and a redevelopment plan for 5256 Vernon Avenue redevelopment area. Board Bill 30, committee sub, sponsored by Alderwoman Ingracia, an ordinance authorizing the Department of Health to accept Centers for Disease Control and Prevention Foundation Award Funding $2,800 through a contract with the National Environmental Health Association containing an emergency clause. That is the extended perfection consent calendar.
Alderman from 10th, you recognize on the motion for the perfection consent calendar.
I move we adopt the perfection consent calendars.
Moved by the Alderman from 10th, entertain a second on that motion.
Second.
Seconded by the Alderman from the 8th. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Board bills for perfection.
Board Bill 58, committee sub, sponsored by Alderwoman Tyus, an ordinance recommended by the Parking Commission, making appropriation for payment of the operating expenses, capital expenses, including lease purchase agreement and debt service expenses of the Parking Division of the Treasurer's Office for fiscal year July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2022, in the sum of $17,773,882, including $1,367,290 for capital improvements containing an emergency clause.
Alderman from the first, you recognize on the perfection of Board Bill 58 committee substitute.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have an inquiry as to a procedural point.
All right, please proceed, Alderman.
So I'm trying to decide if it's better to just go ahead and perfect it and then put it on the informal third reading calendar, because is that what would happen? I'm trying to work it out. So I don't want to pass it, and I'm not trying to pass it next week if they don't give me the answer. So I just want to make sure everybody understands I'm a perfected, but then once I perfect it, it won't go on the perfection informal, it'll go on the third reading informal. Is that correct?
Yes. And
Okay.
You would just make the request that it be on the third reading informal next week.
Okay.
Because it'll be just perfected and sitting there today.
Just want to make sure that I'm keeping my word of what I said I would do.
All right, thank you.
Okay, Mr. President, members of the board, I move to perfect Board Bill, what was it?
58 committee substitute.
Whatever, Board Bill 58 committee substitute, is that it? Yes.
Been moved by the Alderman from the first, entertain a second on that. Second by the Alderman from the 9th. Any discussion?
Roll call.
There's been a request for roll call. Been moved.
Previous roll.
There's been a request for previous
Objection.
roll.
Objection.
There's been an objection to previous roll. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Tyus,
Aye.
Alderwoman Middlebrook, Alderman Bosley,
Aye.
Alderwoman Evans,
Aye.
Alderman Page,
Aye.
Alderwoman Ingracia,
Aye.
Alderman Coder,
Aye.
Alderwoman Rice,
Aye.
Alderman Gunther,
Aye.
Alderman Balmer,
Aye.
Alderwoman Martin,
Aye.
Alderman Stevens,
Aye.
Alderwoman Schweitzer,
Aye.
Alderwoman Howard,
Aye.
Alderwoman Green,
Aye.
Alderman Oldenburg,
Aye.
Alderwoman Peel,
Aye.
Alderman Todd,
Aye.
Alderwoman Davis,
Aye.
Alderwoman Spencer, Alderman Muhammad,
Aye.
Alderman Boyd,
Present.
Alderman Vaccaro,
Aye.
Alderman Narayan.
Aye.
Alderman Cone,
Aye.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard,
Aye.
Alderwoman Boyd,
Aye.
Alderwoman Navarro,
Aye.
President Reed,
Aye.
Alderwoman Middlebrook,
Aye.
Alderwoman Spencer, (27) aye votes and 1 voted present.
By your vote, staying the motion of the Alderwoman from the first and perfected Board Bill number 58 committee substitute. Madam Clerk, at the request of the Alderwoman, the Alderwoman from the first. Madam Clerk, at the request of the Alderwoman from the first, please place Board Bill number 58 committee substitute on next week's third reading informal calendar.
So noted. That is to extend the board bills for perfection.
Third reading consent.
Board bills 3, 4, and 27.
Alderman from the 10th, you recognize on the motion for the third reading consent calendar. The motion for the third reading consent calendar.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. I move that we adopt the third reading consent calendar.
Moved by the Alderman
Second.
from the 10th, seconded by the Alderman from 22nd. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Tyus,
Aye.
Alderwoman Middlebrook,
Aye.
Alderman Bosley,
Aye.
Alderwoman Evans,
Aye.
Alderman Page,
Aye.
Alderwoman Ingracia,
Aye.
Alderman Coder,
Aye.
Alderwoman Rice,
Aye.
Alderman Gunther,
Aye.
Alderman Balmer,
Aye.
Alderwoman Martin,
Aye.
Alderman Stevens,
Aye.
Alderwoman Schweitzer,
Aye.
Alderwoman Howard,
Aye.
Alderwoman Green,
Aye.
Alderman Oldenburg,
Aye. Aye.
Alderwoman Peel, I can see her moving her mouth. I think she's saying aye.
Or give us a thumbs up if it's an aye.
I can hear her through the wall and she's saying aye.
Okay.
She's muted.
Okay.
So Alderman Todd,
Aye.
Alderwoman Davis,
Aye.
Alderwoman Spencer, Alderman Muhammad,
Aye.
Alderman Boyd,
Aye.
Alderman Vaccaro,
Aye.
Alderman Narayan.
Aye.
Alderman Cone,
Aye.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard,
Aye.
Alderwoman Boyd,
Aye.
Alderwoman Navarro,
Aye.
President Reed,
Aye.
Alderwoman Spencer. 28 aye votes.
By vote, sustain the motion, Alderman from the 10th and third read and finally pass the aforementioned bills. Third reading, report on endorsements and final passage.
Board Bill 3, 4, and 27.
All other business being suspended, the president shall in open session affix his signature hereto to the end that these may become law. Alderman from the 19th, you recognize on the motion of our courtesy resolutions calendar.
Mr. President, members of the board, I move to adopt our courtesy resolution calendar.
It's been moved by the Alderman from the 19th,
Second.
Second.
seconded by the Alderman from 22nd, and there was someone else, but Alderman from the 22nd. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
First reading of resolutions.
We have none.
Second reading,
We have none.
miscellaneous unfinished business,
We have none.
announcements.
Tuesday, June 22nd, 2021, HUDs will have a meeting at 9 a.m. via webinar. Education and Youth Matters will have a meeting at 11 a.m. via webinar. Wednesday, June 23rd, Ways and Means will have a meeting at 9 a.m. via webinar. Thursday, June 24th, Public Safety will have a meeting at 9 a.m. via webinar. Ways and Means will have a meeting at 1 p.m. via webinar. And Friday, June 25th, full board meeting, 10 a.m. via webinar. That is the extent of the announcements.
All right, any further announcements? Alderman from the first.
Mr. President, members of the board, if I could ask the Alderwoman from who is Education and Youth Matters? Is that the Alderwoman from the 15th?
That's me.
Yes.
If I would like to inquire of the Alderwoman from the 15th, if I may, Mr. President.
Yes.
I just wanted to find out if you anticipated Education and Youth Matters to be a long meeting. We want to have a streets meeting, so I'm trying to gauge what time to call it.
I would say no longer than 2 hours. We're just going to get an update from SLPS on the school closures and the visioning plan, and kind of where we are on all of that.
Thank you. Mr. President, members of the board, I'm going to call a street meetings for Tuesday, June 22nd at 1 o'clock.
All right, Madam Clerk, please make note of that.
So noted.
Alderman from the third. Alderman from the third. Okay, Alderman.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members of the board. I hope you can hear me. Yes, sir. We got our annual father and son parking, camping in the park. I'm sorry, camping in Hyde Park event this Friday, starting at 6 a.m. all the way into the morning. We know a lot of our children don't get a chance in their early ages to go out and experience camping. So we are bringing it to our own neighborhoods outside of one of our parks, in the neighborhood right at Hyde Park at Salisbury and 20th Street. We'll have tents, free tents for the kids. We got tents, sleeping bags, free food, horses, helicopters. Nighttime, we'll have a petting zoo out there. Boy Scouts are coming, just really ensuring that our young men have mentors and special times with the people in their communities as they grow up and experience things that they haven't been able to experience. So as they grow up with the people in the community, they know that folks that they grew up with are folks that once again, they can go back in their minds and know that they've grown with, as we continue to grow as a community. So if you all have any chances to get out this weekend, once again, Friday from 6 o'clock, we'll be there all night. Saturday morning, it's open to the entire community, starting at noon. We fish in the morning time at 6:30. So this is for fathers and sons. Sometimes we do have young women that show up that are brothers of some of the fathers. I mean, some of the sons that bring their fathers. I mean, some of the sons that come with their fathers. So we don't turn anybody around, but this is supposed to be for fathers and sons. But we invite everybody. So once again, we appreciate it. Hyde Park this weekend, starting tomorrow at 6 p.m. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Alderman, and congratulations on another year. And it was a great idea, and you continue to grow it every year. And I appreciate you putting your arms around a lot of these young men in our city, because we know if we can change their lives, we change the whole, structure of our communities and the trajectory that a lot of these families are on. So, so thank you for all your work that you're doing in that area.
So thank you very much, Mr. President. I appreciate it. And if you don't have a father, I didn't say that if if your father is incarcerated or some other circumstance prohibits you from being able to be there, we have mentors. I myself will be out there. So, just send your children. It's for everybody. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Alderman from the 19th.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. I just wanted to remind us that the initiative for Grills to Glory is still operating. It is probably more informative now than just simply giving away food. A lot of information is there. We need people to understand where they can apply for rental assistance and any other things that are causing them unnecessary hardship in their families. So please stop at a church or send people there. There are people there to help them and to also just simply have a moment of understanding. I'd also like to recognize that the St. Louis Symphony on Saturday will be providing an outdoor concert at Washington AME Church. I'm going to send a message out to the entire board, but that is their contribution to Juneteenth. And there should be plenty of room for anybody who wants to come. It's outside. So I thank them, the symphony, for that as they continue to reach out to community to help us enrich it. Thank you, Mr. President and members of the board.
All right, thank you, Alderman. Alderman from the 9th.
Thank you, Mr. President. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep. All right. Yeah, so busy weekend. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. And part of that, I'm happy to join the alderman from the 3rd for the camping trip, and I would encourage anyone to show up. It's a great time. So, but then besides that, we have on Saturday from 2 to 6, we have a Juneteenth event at Cherokee Park, or at Love Bank Park at 2851 Cherokee. So we're having a wonderful family-friendly kind of small gathering for Juneteenth. Then Saturday night, we have youth boxing returning to South Broadway Athletic Club for the first time in a year and a half or so. So if anyone is interested in our city's rec center boxing programs, we're having a showcase of all of our city boxing, and that'll be from 5 until 10 on Saturday night. And then on Sunday, we're having our second concert in Benton Park. The Mighty Pines will be playing from 4 to 7 in Benton Park, corner of Arsenal and Jefferson. So hope to see some people out this weekend for a lot of fun events. And happy Father's Day and happy Juneteenth. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman from the 26th.
Thank you, Mr. President and members of the board. I want to echo my colleague from the 9th and say happy Father's Day to not just all the fathers on the board with me, but all the ones listening in, all the father figures. Of course, my daddy, Joseph Clark, and Rodney Hubbard Sr., and of course, the reason why I am a mother, my children's father, Rodney Hubbard. I have way too many Juneteenth celebrations going on, so I want to encourage everybody to go to my page on social media, Shameen Clark Hubbard. I have posted all different events all over across, not just in St. Louis, but East St. Louis. I want you all to make sure that this is not just about wearing a t-shirt, posting a picture, having a day off. Make sure you recognize the spirit of Juneteenth and celebrate it, and educate yourselves more about what Juneteenth is all about. I wish we still had our amazing Clerk Kennedy here to give us that lesson that he's given in the years past on Juneteenth, but you are happy Juneteenth. We have to celebrate while we wait in my Michelle Obama voice for different things. But thank you so much for letting me take this time to wish Happy Father's Day to all of you all. And President Reed, I will see you Saturday at the motorcade.
Saturday. It was a good time last year, and we were able to really get some messaging out to people along that route. So we're going to do it again this year. Excellent. Alderman from the 22nd.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. 36 years ago, I had one of my best Father's Day. My son, Jeffrey Boyd Jr. was born in Landstuhl, Germany. So I want to wish him a happy 36th birthday to my son. Also, we're having a Juneteenth cleanup in the 5900 block of Martin Luther King Drive tomorrow, starting at 10 o'clock. Meeting at 5955 Martin Luther King Drive. That's a lot. And also, there's the last of the concert series. It's a blues concert series that's going on at 6 o'clock on the 19th from 6 to 8 p.m. So it's a free concert. Everybody's welcome to come out. It's kind of a blues genre of music, and it's going to be real exciting. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Alderman from the 24th.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. I don't think I have anything too surprising to say. Just wanted to wish all my colleagues and the residents here in the city a happy Juneteenth, and join in with my colleagues from the 3rd and the 9th. Sunday's Father's Day, so happy Father's Day to all the fathers here on the board and in the city. Thanks to all the fathers and the men out there setting a good example for the youth in the city. That's all I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Alderwoman from the 27th.
Thank you, Mr. President. First, let me thank Brandon Bosley because he has continuously stepped up to the plate as an African-American male and showed that we have a lot of African-American males that are looking to show our youth a different way of life. And so I appreciate him for that because his age group is the group that we constantly say is the problem. And so he's showing that it's not the problem, and all you have to do is give a little TLC and people will come together and the youth will listen. When I did go to his camping and fishing derby, it was very interesting because I am not an outside person. And so I have pictures. Brandon was trying to teach the little kids how to put a worm on a hook. And I just thought that was so powerful. My husband, well, Sharon's husband, who is a country boy who loved it. And he was asking Brandon questions I never even thought about. So thank you, Brandon Bosley. I appreciate you. I'm honored to be a colleague because you are showing that African-American men are powerful in our community and their voices can be heard. People like you can make the difference. You send a message that we all are gun toters, dope dealers, and drug addicts. So thank you so much. I really am honored to know you. On June the 19th, on Saturday, our clergy partnership, we have a community clergy partnership on the 27th. They're going to do their cleanup. And what they have done is adopted 4 blocks around their churches. So this Saturday, they'll do 8 blocks because they'll have Bishop Terrence Coleman at Greater Pentecostal, Reverend McKinney at Church House Ministry, and they will clean from West Florissant and Mimica all the way to Laura and Mimica all the way back to Park Lane. And so these pastors have got volunteers and they'll have ORCA there, and Alderman Bosley is aware of our ORCA because they're in his ward. And it's like drug rehab, and they have a bus that's mobile, that's free service to help our young people to get off of the drugs. So I just want to let everybody know that. And again, Brandon, you are just phenomenal. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, thank you, Alderwoman, for that. Alderwoman from the 4th.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to again extend Happy Father's Day to all of the fathers and those that are stand-in fathers. Hope all of your days of that day is a pleasant one. I also would like to let you know that on the 18th, which is tomorrow, Friday, Mayor Jones will have an inauguration party at 3 o'clock at Sumner High. So those of you that want to come out, it starts at 3 o'clock at Sumner High School. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderwoman from the 2nd.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. I just want to say happy Father's Day to all of the fathers in the 2nd Ward, as well as the fathers on the board and throughout the city. And a special Father's Day, happy Father's Day to my dad, my committee man, Larry Middlebrook, who is an amazing man. I can't say enough about him. There is nothing that he will not do for me or anyone else in the ward if he can do it. Just the values that he has instilled in me and the positivity are just unmeasured. My fiance continuously tells me your dad has set the bar so high that he does not know where to start or stop. And his grandchildren are absolutely crazy about him. His granddaughter, the youngest one and the last grandchild he's gonna have, he's the only person that she has not banished to the no friend zone. She will not hesitate to tell you, I'm telling my papa on you. So happy Father's Day. She is crazy about her papa. She does not play when it comes to him. So happy Father's Day to all the fathers, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.
All right,
Thank you.
Alderwoman from the 2nd. Alderwoman from the 19th.
Mr. President, members of the board, I tell you, I gotta say something about Brandon Bosley. You see, I'm gonna give the accolades where they belong, because at the end of the day, he is showing what it takes to mold a young person. He paid attention when he was growing up. He was mannerable, because you know, Daddy Bosley didn't play.
Mm-hmm.
And Daddy Bosley, he actually mentored a lot of us. Yeah. And he didn't mind taking his time. You didn't have to belong to his ward. You didn't have to even be a true politician, but he would help you, he would teach you, and he would share. And so, Brandon, if you continue to take those measures that he gave you and you learn, I think you're going to just be so wonderful. And please don't let anybody take you off that path, because it's really about the people. You get that part of it for sure. It's really about the people. And I just wanted to give a happy Father's Day to your dad especially, and to you and all other fathers. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you so much, Brandon. I really appreciate it, Alderwoman.
You know, when you can watch somebody from when he was a toddler and now look at you, it's just amazing. So thank you very much, Mr. President.
And Alderwoman from the 19th, I second all of that. A lot of you probably don't know, but a lot of us watched Brandon grow up from when he was a baby. And it's wild now that all these years later, we see him here on the Board of Aldermen. Most of you probably don't know, but I started out in politics as an intern and a volunteer for his father, Freeman Bosley Sr. over in the 3rd Ward. So I learned politics and community engagement from him and his family. And his family has just touched so many people throughout the city of St. Louis and has helped people. One of the things his father used to do was, if you had your water turned off, your electric turned off or whatever, he would go and work to get those things turned on. So I thought he was, and I'll tell you a story, I thought that he had special in with the electric company. So I had a resident once that had their electric turned off and they needed it turned back on. So I thought to myself, I said, well, I know Freeman Bosley Sr. knows how to do that. Let me call him. So I called him. He got me on the phone with the electric company. The electric company put the person on a payment schedule. And when they put them on a payment schedule, but here's the piece that most people don't know. After they put them on a payment schedule, they told them how much you'd have to pay down to get your electric turned back on. And Alderman Bosley said, what time can you be at my house to pick it up? I will pay. I'll pay that down payment so that you get the electric turned back on. So it wasn't so much magic, but he actually took his own money to get people's power and water and everything turned back on. That's how committed he was. He had never met the person before, never talked to him before or anything, but I drove over his house and he went to his bank account and paid, wrote a check to get that person's power turned back on. That's the kind of elected official Freeman Bosley Sr. was. And that's the footsteps that Brandon is coming up in, and that's how he was raised. So I thank you, and you're doing very, very well in picking up the mantle and keeping it moving forward. Finally, I'll say this, it's so important that we put our arms around these young African-American men. Sometimes people push back on that and they say, well, why are you just talking about these young African-American men and why are you just putting your arms around them to help stabilize their lives? Because when you look at the people that are being locked up, more than not, just young African-American men. When you look at the majority of people that are being impacted by unemployment, overwhelmingly young African-American men. The ones that are dropping out of school more frequently, young African-American men, and so on and so forth. So it's a subset that we have, not to ignore everything else, but it's a subset that we have to pay some attention to because it's being impacted so dramatically by every negative statistics in this nation and every positive statistic in this nation, African-American men trail in it. So I appreciate and thank you for doing that and showing them the way and being at that positive role model in a real sense. Congratulations, job well done. Keep up the good work, all of them.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. I appreciate all of you all. Couldn't happen without all of the people that have come before me to help pave the way. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Right, next. Alderman from the 10th, you recognize on the motion to excuse.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. All aldermen are present, and I understand the alderman from the 3rd will be signing autographs in the lobby today. Thank you very much.
Be there.
Alderman from the 10th, you recognize on the motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. I move that we adjourn to June 25th, 2021 at 10 a.m.
Been moved by the Alderman from the 10th. Entertain a second on that motion.
Second.
Seconded by the Alderman from the 4th. All in favor signify by saying aye.
No.
Aye.
No.
Man,
No.
One day somebody's gonna have to vote no.
No.
It looks like Jesse Todd was
I
trying
think Jesse Todd's trying to say something.
Yeah,
From the 18th, we're adjourned, but were you planning to vote no?
No, I intended to say something. I have a resolution.
Oh,
I didn't
no.
get it. Don't I get a? Do I read the resolution?
We're adjourned now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're adjourned. We passed the resolutions calendar a while ago, but we're adjourned. But you can take it up next week. We'll make sure to make it a priority next week, Alderman.
Okay, thank you, Mr.
Fall asleep?
All right.
What happened?
It wasn't on the agenda.
Okay, it wasn't on the agenda.
Oh.
Everybody
Okay, then.
enjoy your June 19th. And,
yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President. Thank you.
Bye-bye.